Hi, and welcome to episode 19 of the Social Strategy Mum podcast and live show. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you are watching or listening. I'm super excited to get into today's episode. I'm going to introduce you to my 4-step framework for social media strategy that converts, because I want to take one little piece of this framework that gets left out all the time and talk a little bit about this particular thing and how it relates to really getting your social media working for your business. So let's crack into it and let's start out. I'm going to give you some insight into this 4-step framework that I'm often talking about. If you are coming along to my masterclass, my Engage and Convert masterclass tomorrow night, or sometime in the future, if you're listening to this later down the track, then you'll hear all about this framework as part of that masterclass. But I thought I would just quickly touch on these key 4 foundational pieces. So the 4 pieces start off with piece number 1, and that is the piece that's all about branding. Now, this is not just your logo and some fonts and colors, okay? This is a much deeper dive into your brand. So we need to be thinking, when it comes to brand, about our ideal customer. And I do a lot of work with my one-to-one clients and group coaching clients, really nailing down who their ideal customer is, because not everybody is your ideal person. And the other piece that we don't think about very often, that I'm going to circle back to towards the end of this and talk more about, is the way that we brand with our words, the way that we speak, the words that we choose to say, the words that we choose to write, and the way that that creates a brand voice for us. So we're going to come back to that. But step number 1, part number 1 of my framework is all around brand. And it isn't just the logo and colors. There's so much more to that. The second part of the framework for social media strategy that converts is content. Of course, as so many people would say, content is king. And content marketing is something that has really established itself as a great way to build a business, particularly when it comes to social media. So what is content marketing? It's basically providing information and education, in our case, across our websites and social media platforms, where we basically inform and educate our ideal customers all about the topic that we're an expert about. It helps us build our expert status. It helps us build a volume of content for SEO, for social media purposes, for repurposing, all of those kinds of things. And so when it comes to building a social media strategy, we really have to nail down our content. And we really need to think about how we're going to sustainably create content in our business long term. Because if we have a social media strategy that requires us to be creating 10 different pieces of content every week, that is not going to be sustainable long term. And it is simply going to lead to a burnt out business owner. But also, it's not always the best thing for our customers either, to be seeing lots of different higgledy-piggledy pieces of content. And so we need a content plan. We need content pillars. We need to have an idea of what we are sharing with our people, where we're sharing it, and how we're sharing it. And so that is the second part of my 4-step framework. The third part of the framework is the platforms. And this comes down to really understanding the key purpose for each of the platforms and the particular little technical things that each of the platforms like and don't like, so that when we're creating our content, we can be really mindful of what we can put onto each platform to get the best reach, to get the best engagement, and then ultimately in order to create conversions for our business. So part number 3 is all about the platforms. And number 4, the step 4 of the framework, is all about conversions and conversations and moving people into our business. This can be in the form of lead magnets, email marketing, sales, all of those kinds of things that come into play and basically take the followers into actual customers, buying customers. They're either buying in with an email address or they're buying in with their cold, hard cash. So that is the 4-step framework that I work through with my clients. We talk about brand, we talk about content, we talk about platforms, and then we talk about conversions. And so what I want to do today is rewind back to step 1 and just talk a little bit more about the concept of branding, but particularly when it comes to our brand voice. Your brand voice really comes down to the way that you talk about your business, your customers, what you do for people, how you help them, and the way that you describe that. It's a super important part of creating a difference between you and everybody else that's out there doing the same thing or similar things as to what you might be doing. Oftentimes people will say to me, well, I'm not really 100% sure exactly what you mean by that. Well, what I'm talking about is creating a connection. And one of the biggest ways that we create a connection with our audience and with our ideal customers is by talking to them. And sometimes we do that by actually speaking, just like I'm doing now, and people consume video or audio content. And sometimes we do that by actually writing and having people read what we have written. What we need to really encapsulate in our brand voice, though, is what makes us different, what makes our brand something that other people might want to listen out for, and what it is that we actually do that helps our ideal customers and clients. So we're talking about listening to how our ideal customers talk about themselves, how they talk about their problems, how they talk about what they want and what they need and what they're struggling with and what they've bought and what has worked and what has not worked. So often the key to building that brand voice is actually listening to what our ideal customers and clients have to say about themselves and their situations. It is so powerful when a brand is able to talk to their ideal customer or client in the language that that customer or client uses themselves to identify themselves and their problems and their search for solutions. So what I want you to really think about and what I want to encourage you to do is to not just think about brand as your colors and your logos and your fonts. I want you to think a bit deeper about brand, and I want you to think about the words that your brand uses. I want you to think about your tagline. I want you to think about how you describe what you do to other people. And I want you to think about how your ideal customers and clients talk about their problems that you are able to solve for them. Because when I talk to my ideal customers and clients, mums in business who are trying to grow their impact and income, they talk about things like never having enough time to get it all done, feeling overwhelmed by all the things they should be doing on social media, feeling like they're constantly glued to their phone trying to keep up, feeling like the number of notifications that they get each day is overwhelming, feeling like every time they scroll Facebook, there's another amazing expert with a cool idea, their unique idea of this one thing that everybody needs to do in order to be successful. These are the kinds of things that people share with me on a day-to-day basis that they are struggling with. And so when I'm talking to my ideal customers and clients, I talk about these problems and difficulties that they're struggling with. And when I create my services and my courses and my coaching packages, I create them and talk about them in a way that actually alludes directly to those things that people are always telling me that they're struggling with. That language is super, super powerful. It makes you stand out from the crowd. It makes you unique. And it can be another way that people can instantly recognize your brand just from the way that you talk to them. But ultimately, it allows them to put themselves into your business because they feel that level of connection. They feel like you have peeked inside their windows, that you have tapped into their brain, and that you have truly understood what it is that they're struggling with and what it is that they need in order to be able to move forward in whatever realm you are talking about. So we've got those 4 pieces of the foundational framework. We've got your brand, we've got your content, we've got your platforms, and we've got your conversions. But what I wanted to just take a moment to shine a spotlight on was that brand doesn't just come down to pretty pictures. It is so, so much more than that. And I really want you to take some time to think about and craft the way that you talk about what you do, and to really start talking to people who are your ideal customers and clients about what it is that they need and what it is that they're struggling with. And don't be afraid to steal some of their phrases and words and ideas so that you know that you're actually talking directly to them. All right, I'm going to leave it there. It was a short, sharp, snappy episode. If you have not yet signed up for the Social Strategy Mum masterclass that is happening tomorrow night, it is my Connect and Engage masterclass. I would encourage you to go wherever near this video or audio, there will be a link. I would encourage you to sign up. We're going to take just an hour tomorrow night. We are going to bust some of the biggest social media myths that are out there right now that are literally holding your business back. I'm going to share with you the number one thing that you can do literally on the spot whilst you're in the masterclass to start building your business on social media and creating those connections and engagement that you need in order to do that building of impact and income. And then I'm going to take you through that 4-step framework in much more detail and break down each of those pieces and give you some tips and tricks and ideas that you can actually go and use when it comes to each of those pieces to move your business forward. It'll finish up with me having the opportunity to share with you all about my amazing group coaching program called Social Strategy Foundations. Round 3 doors are open right now. So if you've been waiting for the doors to be open, then make sure that you reach out to me right now to get all the information about that. But tomorrow night, I will have an opportunity to talk through all of that with you guys. We will be live face-to-face over Zoom, so you will be able to ask questions. I will be there to answer them on the spot. I'm looking forward to connecting with you. There are quite a few people that are registered for this masterclass, so I know it's going to be amazing. So if you haven't registered, make sure that you register now. Thank you so much for watching or listening wherever you are right now, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.